This episode is brought to you by MEXC Crypto Trading Platform. With the wild swings we're experiencing in these crypto markets, why not take advantage of the wide range of cryptos to actually trade on MEXC? Find your next moonshot and never miss another crypto gem again. And use the link below and I'll airdrop you $25 worth of Bitcoin. Visit MEXC.com for more information. Link in the description below.
This my two Satoshis, who need 2 cents when they can get double from stacking Toshis, yeah.
Hola, buenos dias, G&Gs. I am Trek with 2Ks, and this is a new episode of My Two Satoshis, brought to you here on TV if you don't know. Just want to say thanks to the folks who are actually tapping in and watching these episodes and leaving comments and making the thumbs up as well as sharing. We do appreciate. So if you don't know, basic idea is I cover some crypto things and then some non-crypto things, and I give my two Satoshis on how I interpret these things. And so we're going to jump into these stories. A couple of interesting things did take place over the last couple of days. Sometimes it might be things that might be a week old, 2 weeks old. It might even be more than a month or so old. And as I pay attention to these things, I always take notes on who's covering it, how are they covering, how are they framing it out to the public. That's the thing that gets me about these stories that I cover. Sometimes there's no coverage. And then sometimes I notice that the framing is limiting. So here's what I'm gonna jump into on this first one, which is draft bill to ban Chinese digital yuan from US app stores. 3 Republican senators introduced a bill to protect Americans from the Authoritarian Digital Currencies Act. Okay, listen, dead ass. When they give these names that sound very protective, pro-American, it's for the people, 9 times out of 10, it's not what y'all think. And it doesn't actually help you as a regular person. I'm not even gonna say as an American, because America's politicians are not the only ones who use this type of naming mechanism where it sounds positive, but it's really the opposite, and the devil's in the details. And so jumping into this first part, or at least these highlighted sections, lawmakers in the United States are moving to protect the country from potential undesirable impacts of global adoption of Chinese digital currency. 3 Republican senators, Tom Cotton, Mike Buren, and Marco Rubio, introduced a bill on Wednesday aiming to limit the use of Chinese central bank digital currencies in the United States. The bill is referred to as Defending Americans from Authoritarian Digital Currencies Act, and proposes to prohibit the use of Chinese digital currency in payment systems, ECNY, for US app stores and other purposes. The term app store covers all publicly accessible websites. So this means you're not seeing it on Spotify, you're not seeing it on any of the e-commerce back-end things. So here it is, you got folks who are like, oh, we know what we should do better for you as the public, where we don't want you to have options to use other currencies that people outside of the US can do. And mind you, this is not a law yet. And let me take off the yet. This is not a law currently. This is just them saying, we propose that we should limit the access of foreign currencies to American people. And we're gonna do it by this digital means of just saying to all of the creators of apps, we're gonna go to the stores that host the app. Google and Apple are the 2 biggest players here in the States and globally on a global scale. We're just gonna go to them and be like, yo, y'all can't do blah, blah, blah in the US. That's what's going on right now. Jumping in further, the senators reasoned that banning China's digital yuan in the US would help the nation avoid direct control and surveillance of users' financial activity. What that means is, we don't want them to be able to do it. We want to be able to do it. That is what that means. Other point that I'm gonna make on this, and I've been saying this for X amount of weeks and months now. So it follows into the second line. Cotton, a known proponent of the US digital dollar project, specifically argued that the CBDC could be used to spy on the financial activities of people. Listen, your man is flat out virtue signaling on us. Like, he's flat out virtue signaling, saying, don't let those people do it. But he's not telling you that's the intention of what they're looking to do here. That's the bullshit right there. Again, I'm not saying you have to do anything or not, just something to be aware of. They're giving you the fear of those other people over there, and then working to limit you for what you can do here by saying, hey, let's protect the public and the people by limiting their financial access. In my opinion, my little 2 Satoshis, this is about capital flight control. I've been saying this also for a bit, that there is a recession actively happening. Governments and bigger brand businesses are not officially calling it, but they're doing things to put in the flight controls, the brake mechanisms that people just can't willy-nilly exit out. That's what I read this as. I don't mean to be a doom and gloom dude, but that's what I read this as. Jumping into this next story, running a little long, sorry on that one. DC Attorney General sues Zuckerberg. And overall, I'm just like, you ain't really doing nothing. Because at the end of the day, he got the law team behind him. They on deck to fight this case. What I find more interesting though is, I'm gonna read this one paragraph. The evidence shows Mark Zuckerberg was personally involved in Facebook's failure to protect privacy and data of its users, leading directly to Cambridge Analytics incident. Bryson said in a statement Monday, the unprecedented security breach exposed tens of millions of Americans' personal information, and Zuckerberg's policies enabled a multi-year effort to mislead users about the extent of Facebook's wrongful conduct. This lawsuit is not only warranted, but is necessary, and it sends a message to corporate leaders, including CEOs, will be held accountable for their actions. I'm gonna just sum this all up to say, Zuckerberg makes the sale of this is important to do. If the government or an attorney general really wanted to make an effective change, in my opinion, you'd have went directly after Cambridge Analytics, and then you'd have went after the company that made the software available for what they were doing. When the Cambridge Analytics situation happened, no one went to jail, no one got arrested, and no one mentioned the company. And I honestly myself do not know the name of the company, but no one mentions the company that made the software that allowed Cambridge Analytics to do what it did on Facebook. I will also add the point that the Attorney General is making on this particular thing with going after Mark in particular was because he was sitting in on the meeting and reviewing the data policies and saying what was good, what wasn't. So that's why he's now not just suing Facebook, but also going after Mark Zuckerberg himself because he had direct input on stuff. Do I think this is gonna go anywhere? Is it gonna just be like, all right, we'll pay the fine and we'll go about our business? I honestly think that's what's gonna happen, but who knows? It might actually affect something. I'm not holding my breath personally. Just wanted to throw this out there for all those folks who be like, oh yeah, Facebook is the greatest thing. Oh, don't worry about. Again, you gotta look at how they're framing these things. We're gonna focus on Mark. We're gonna focus on Cambridge Analytics, but we're not talking about the company that made the software that got sold to Cambridge Analytics and worked as a proof of concept on how you digitally map. That's the shit that annoys me about how I hear this stuff come out. But those are the things I pay attention to, not saying you gotta pay attention to, but I'm gonna just throw that on your radar. Last joint, basic idea is, here's all you need to know about Creative Commons licenses and how they affect NFTs. The title on this article is a misnomer, or not really a misnomer, but it doesn't actually encapsulate all of Creative Commons licenses. This one really only focuses on Creative Commons 0, which is the most liberal of all the Creative Commons licenses on how if you create something artistically, musically, literary, so if you write a song, if you write a book, if you make a picture, if you take a picture, if you sing a song that you made up, like you can apply this particular thing to it. Let me jump into some of these highlights. NFT projects can choose to provide several different copyright options to holders of their project depending on the project's goal or the legal issue it intends to tackle. We'll explore these options and focus on Creative Commons 0. Again, there are multiple Creative Commons, but this article is focusing on 0 in particular. So projects that already use Creative Commons and that are making some headway, I didn't know about MFers in particular, but let me read what is said here. Creative Commons 0 is an intellectual property standard adopted by significant NFT projects like MFers, Nouns, Blipmaps, and Cryptodes, and is in stark contrast to copyright laws. So I'm gonna jump through this part. Basically, copyright law is saying, hey, if I created something, then I have right to how it is being used and distributed. That's the basic bottom line of that. In regards to crypto NFTs of CryptoPunks and Bored Ape Yacht Clubs, I did not know that CryptoPunks was produced by Larva Labs, and then Bored Ape Yacht Clubs was created by Yaga Labs. And they went through two different routes of how they gave rights out. CryptoPunks did not initially do that under Larva Labs. When CryptoPunks was bought by Yaga Labs, they then gave out all of the copyrights or the intellectual rights to people who held CryptoPunks, which was what they already did with Bored Ape Yacht Clubs, which is why you see all of those variations fly out of there. Creative Commons is the most liberal copyright licensing where the creator waives any copyright ownership of rights of the artwork. This means anyone can use the artwork for non-commercial and commercial purposes. Anyone can create without giving attribution to the original artist. When an artist issues a CC0, creators declare their work as belonging in the public domain. So what does this mean in relation to NFTs as far as the artistic content creation side of it? It means that if you use this particular thing, you really got to be clear on what the hell you're trying to do. Are you trying to monetize solely in your own thing? Or are you trying to throw it out there and then build a bigger brand awareness of what you're doing? That's at least how I interpret this. And the point being is she jumps into 2 points as far as like the pros and cons. So pro of it is, hey, your project can go anywhere because you're basically allowing other creative people to figure out other ways to build some kind of derivative off of what you initially started with, which arguably from a branding perspective, we already seen proof of concept in what Bored Ape Yacht Club did, and then what's been going on now with CryptoPunks. And that once that was opened up, the brand awareness of these two NFT creations just exploded. Why? Because now there were more people coming up with ideas on how you can make variations of it. But you knew that it started off with this one original thing. In this sense of the crypto blockchain space and using technology and trying to figure out newer revenue models or newer business ideas, I think that if your strategy is to make a brand expansion and you just, hey, let's see where people go with it, definitely a way to go. But if you want to control it and move it the way you want, I don't know if the CC0 will be the thing for you. Those of you, and I'm putting this out there for those of you who are looking to get into this whole NFT thing from a producer creator side, as opposed to just a regular buyer of these items that are called NFTs now. And I honestly think that NFTs, as we understand it now, is not going to be what it's going to be in like 5-6 years. It's going to be a thing because I see it as a technology with use case in artistic application. But I also want to throw out something else that when I was reading through the article, I was like, I think I'm gonna have to actually jump in and play around with this. So the author, Elena, lists like these 3-4 companies that are users of the Creative Commons 0 standard. And I'm definitely gonna have to go mess with MFers, Nouns, and Blipmaps and Crypto Toads just to play around and see like how their creative process works and what I could come up with. If you're interested in seeing what I come up with, definitely leave a comment on this, and at some point I'll cover it down the road. It might be through the Twitter side of it, or I might actually do an exclusive episode of my two Satoshis talking about my experience in utilizing Creative Commons 0 in relation to like these particular NFT projects. So if you're interested, definitely say something in the comments. And I'm gonna close it out with, we're doing the live stream giveaways for the Arculus hard wallet, and that's for the paid membership folks on the CBTV channel here on YouTube. And if you're interested, check us out for the live streams on Sundays. And we're also working on the ticket giveaway for the Blockchain Futurist Conference, which will be in Toronto. That is going to be in August. And hey, hopefully, if you're already in Toronto and we catch up, build, talk, have conversations, network, and meet new people, as well as catch up and see old friends. That's me personally. If you are interested in going and you don't get the chance to get that free ticket, I also have a 50% off, which is Trek, TREKK 50. So that's Trek 50. And that will get you 50% off on the ticket for the Blockchain Futurist Conference in August in Toronto. I just got to put that out there because somebody might think that it's here in the stateside, but it's actually further north across the border. Other than that, I am Trek with 2Ks. This is my two Satoshis. And until the next one, G and G's, one.